All right. So welcome everyone to today's session of our ArewaDS monthly Kaggle competition. So it took us a long to finish the second cohort where we learn different skills. Uh, oh, okay. My voice is slow. It's slow. Okay. So just give me a second, maybe. Okay, so let me speak at Nagara Mariata. Okay, can you hear me now? It's loud. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, it's okay now. Okay, so welcome everyone to today's session of ArewaDS Kaggle monthly competition. We basically took like more or less a couple of months to finish this cohort, and it is done. But then one may ask, okay, I learned data science, but if you don't actually practice consistently, forget what you learn, it's already said, um, consistency build excellence. Um, Nothing beat that, nothing. So when you want to learn something to become excellent at it, just keep pushing, doing that thing. You know, with atomic, learning today, you learn something, you learn new thing, they accumulate. So that's the idea of, we bring this monthly challenge where we said, okay, let's bring this and ask people, members to participate in the challenge. We will be bringing monthly, challenge where people can try to build machine learning model and whatsoever. Yeah, so that's the main aim of that. So number one, you learn different concept. You can team up with, you know, your friend. You can have a team of two or team of three, a team of four. It depends on what you do. So we encourage people that, in the same state or their colleagues to team up to, um, you know, um, try to see the participant in the competition. So that's number one, to learn how to solve different problems that you are not being taught. Number two, to collaborate. So you can collaborate with colleagues to learn how to solve problem. And then you basically build your portfolio. So portfolio in a way you can show to other people. You do participate in particular competition that you learn how to do other stuff. So it's a great, opportunity as well for building a portfolio. But we also said that the top three, teams will be um, given some kind of uh, prize or something like that. So every month, we top three people, top three people, and we give them some kind of award. So the first one, which I will allow Lukman to take us through, is a first challenge here, and then how to do that. Lukman will take us through like how to sign up with Kaggle, what the Kaggle is. Also, this is the award, and then the moment you start doing the spread our spread, like share in the Twitter, LinkedIn, and other stuff about what your experience. And also this is something that we put Kaggle. Here you can see it's Kaggle some stuff. Okay. uh okay. Right. No. Okay. Yeah, so we now have a newsletter where we will be sending you about ArewaDS. So for example, this is just a newsletter about, about our competition, So you can subscribe to ArewaDS newsletter. So if we have any event or some information, we'll be sending the read our newsletter. So without much further ado, I will, allow Lukman to take over to talk to us about what is Kaggle, how you started, how you can register, and other stuff. But the main thing is, this is what our Kaggle data science. I will share it in the channel. This is our monthly challenge that we will be putting just to make sure and encourage you participate, keep, honing your skills, collaborate, and learn more. So thank you very much. Any question before I hand over to Lukman? Any question? Any question? Any Also, let me just put this one. We gonna have our uh, graduation for ArewaDS, I think in 22nd, yeah, if I don't forget. So for people that we will give them our awards. Those people that got award that finished their data science got certificate, you will be given your money on that date, on the day of graduation. But we also ask other people that haven't got finished their certificate that they still have more time before the graduate, which is 22nd, I guess, yeah, if I don't forget. So you still have more time to go and finish your data science certificate from DataCamp. Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, Mubarak, go ahead, Mubarak.
Okay. Hello, sir. Good. I don't know, it's evening, afternoon, or night over there. I saw your newsletter. That's how I got to know about the Kaggle challenge. And it was really exciting because lately I try to kind of participate in a couple of challenges on Kaggle. But it's a kind of difficult, especially doing it alone without community. So seeing the newsletter, I just say, oh, let me check it out. It's been a while that I check on the activities on the ArewaDS Science Telegram group due to my exams. But I say, let me check it out. And I find it really interesting. Thank you so much, sir. So I don't know if the Kaggle challenge is only for the cohort 2 or is
No,
often,
no.
yes, sir.
So the Kaggle challenge is everyone. So everyone, even if you are not an Arewa data science, even if you are another world or from Jupiter or Mars, you can participate. So
All right.
also encourage other community members from ArewaDS to see that other people. So the competition is for everyone. So you can see so the uh, do subscribe. I think it's the newsletter is something good. Please do subscribe to the newsletter because this is what we'll be sending over. So this sounds, something good. Like I think Mubarak, you already subscribed to the newsletter, so you were able to see like the before I just like draft what you saw. I haven't edited, but we'll start making the. I was testing the newsletter, but good that you even get the alert and you are interested in that. So one of the good thing about competition and making group teams is that when you go fast, when you go fast, try to collaborate with other people. You can do incredible things that you cannot do alone. But when you want to do something alone, it will take you a long time. So for example, say you can definitely do stuff you are alone, but if it's something it can take you like 1 month, if you do collaborate with other people, learning from them, it can take you like 1 or 2 days because you may learn at different pace. You have different experience. Everyone is different. Everyone has his own different view of stuff. So that's the power of collaboration. You can do incredible things that you can never think of doing alone. So I highly encourage people to team up. We will have our channel in the ArewaDS Telegram. Please uh, uh, we'll create a channel. I already said that, something like that. Kaggle challenge. So in our ArewaDS, we will have something like this Kaggle challenge. So if you have any question, any something, just share a oh, I don't know how to do this. How do you do this? Just ask question. Somebody will help you. Oh, this is how to do that. So you learn among the colleague and other stuff. That's the spirit. The spirit is that we are not compete. We are not in a way like trying to say that, oh, I'm better than this. No, what we are
What we
trying
are
to do is,
trying to do is
how can we compete and favorably in a way we learn. So that's the main idea. All right, thank you very much, Mubarak. Anyone with any question? Anyone with question? All right. So without much further ado, if there is no question, I will ask Lukman. Lukman, are you around? Are you here with us, Lukman?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so let me, and also let me give you like an example of let me give you an example of what is it called? What is this website for watching movies online?
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Netflix.
Yes, Netflix. So let me show you something. Okay, yeah. So I want to say Netflix. So this is an example of one competition where people won $1 million, $1 million, which is a competition in Kaggle. It was old, competition. But the main idea of this competition was, okay, so let me tell you a bit about that. Recommendation, how to improve recommendation. So the main idea about it is that they give data, Netflix, and they ask, how can you build a recommendation or algorithm machine learning that recommend movie to other persons? For example, if I watch a movie which is somehow horror movie, so how can the machine learning algorithm recommend more horror related movies? Or if I watch a movie that is horror and I watch a movie that is love, how can I watch a movie that will I will likely watch given my prior watched history? So this is Netflix data challenge where they have this $1 million, and people that develop this won this competition. But anyway, this is just to give you like, but Lukman will take us through now how you can register for the Kaggle, how you can even get started with Kaggle. Thank you very much. Lukman, over to you. I share the link to you.
Okay. All right. So, good day, everyone, and thank you for joining. So today we are discussing Kaggle and how to join and win competitions. So this is my outline. I'll be switching with the Kaggle interface at relevant points. So Kaggle is an online platform of data science and machine learning competitions. So for people who have done maybe this Google data analytics and things like that, they make you join Kaggle because it's currently owned by Google. So it was founded in 2010 and acquired by Google in 2017. So Google owns Kaggle. So, and that's why they make you join the Kaggle in some of their programs. And then they host a wide range of data science competitions. So you compete and then you win prizes, though there are different types of competitions. All right. So, what are the uses? Why do we use Kaggle? So, firstly, you have a lot of data sets because these competitions come with data sets, and some people just upload data sets because in Kaggle you have four categories. You have competitions, you have discussions, you have code, and you have data sets. So people can just upload data sets for others to use. and then you learn from top data scientists because you see their work. So when they participate in competitions, the winning solutions, they write write-ups, and you can learn from that. You can even see the code that was used and even the explanation behind the thought process while deploying those code. And then you improve your data science skills, of course, with participation, and then you network with professionals because once you engage in discussions, you can meet new people who are professionals who are skilled in data science and you can learn from them. So that's why it's good to use Kaggle. And then our target is the competition. Because like I said, there are 4 categories in Kaggle, but the competitions, that's what we are going to do. And then there are different levels. You either at the beginning you are a novice, and then you move to contributor, then you move to expert, then there's master, and then there's grandmaster. So it's based on levels. The more your medals in competitions, the more your level, your category. And then there's prize money and recognition depending on the nature of the competition. Some competitions just give you swags. So it's just community competition and you gain swags and then you gain knowledge. And then the third one is real world problem solving because like the competition that was just shown for Netflix is a real world challenge and I'm sure the winning solution was deployed somehow. And then the types of Kaggle competitions. There are 4 types: the featured competitions, and then there's the research competitions, recruitment competitions, and the community competitions. So of these competition types, community competitions are free. Like I, as a member of the Kaggle community, can just host a competition and then people will join and then we do what we need. But if it's a featured competition, most of them are sponsored, maybe by companies or things like that. And then they normally have cash prizes. So for research too, it's also the same, but for research, academic research, and others. And then company may decide to recruit using Kaggle. So they will host a recruitment competition, but they pay Kaggle for that. So for Kaggle now, if you want to get started, so this is the Kaggle interface. So you have home, competitions, data sets, models, code, and then discussions. And then you have the learn part. So the learn part is where you can join and learn courses. They have some simple Kaggle courses where you can join from introduction to machine learning, even things like SQL and other factors. So you learn a lot of things from there, and you can even learn how to join competitions. There are things on time series. It's rich, and they are mostly short and straight to the point. They leave out a lot of the jargons. It's mostly straight to the point, useful things that you can immediately act on. So that's part of the this thing. So we have, so like I said, there's the competitions, there's data sets, there's models, and there's code. You can, and there's discussions. So the models are the models that we have that are the models that are on Kaggle, hosted on Kaggle. So maybe you have Mistral and Llama 2 and other models, open source models. They host them on Kaggle for people to just use. Instead of you to find how to use the model, you can just add it to your notebook and use it right in Kaggle. So our aim is competition. So to join Kaggle, you just need to go to the website, kaggle.com, and then you create your account. After creating your account, you complete your profile and then you're good to go. So you can create the account using your Google account since it's hosted by Google. So just use your Google account, verify your email, and then you're done. Then you can explore this platform. Because if you have an account, so I'm already here. So what if you just go to kaggle.com, you can create your account and you can start. So and one beautiful thing.
panin doang kan wakal tuh ada pada ini deh kalau kawan lah agak lebih sih
All right. So one beautiful thing about the Kaggle is that you have a lot of data sets. So for one of our projects for the deep learning cohort, deep learning with PyTorch, we use a data set in Kaggle. So it was we use a data set in Kaggle to train our model for image recognition. So there are a lot of data sets in Kaggle and you can, depending on what you need. And then You can also download the data sets hosted on Kaggle for your offline use, or you can use them in the Kaggle notebooks. And then the next thing is kernels. So these are the notebooks on Kaggle. So the notebooks on Kaggle, they are called kernels before they now call it notebooks. So they are interactive coding environments and they support Python or R. So once you open a notebook, you can easily select whether to use Python or R. So here you just go to code and then you can open a new notebook. Code new notebook. And once you open a new notebook, you can decide to use. Maybe you want to use a GPU, you select the GPU you want to use. And then if you want, you can also select whether you want to code in Python or you want to code in R. So this is the language. You can select Python or R. Currently, those are the only two supported languages. And then you can select the GPU, whether you want a GPU T4 or even a TPU. That's the tensor processing unit that Google use. So you can use that. And then you can also share your You can also share your code. So after you're done with whatever, maybe you did some visualizations or you trained a model, you can share. So you just go to share and then you make it. You can, if you want to leave it private, you have to add the collaborator here. Maybe you know the person and then you search the person and send the notebook to the person. But if you want to make it public, you select public and then you just share the link and people will get the link. But you can also add collaborators on the notebook and those collaborators can edit. But if you make it public, it means people can view but not edit until you add them. So that's how notebooks work. Once you're done, you give it a nice name here, and then you can come back to it and edit when you need. So that's the Kaggle notebook, and it's highly important because if you have a data set in Kaggle, the best way for you to use data set is the notebook because if you keep downloading and it's not convenient to keep downloading and moving it from one place to the next. And then we've seen the Kaggle interface, the way it is, the competitions and the rest. So now we look at competitions. So we look at competitions. So this is the competitions interface. So if you're active in any competition, you see what you've submitted, your position on the leaderboard and things like that. So that's the competition. And then you have filters in the competition part. So you can filter for completed competitions. So you see how many competitions have you, what are the completed competitions, active, the ones you've entered, and then you see, or whatever, or maybe you want to check the category since we have different types of competitions. There are playground, community, analytics, getting started. Getting started for when you just want to know, get a feel of competitions. So you can select that, and then maybe you want to check featured competitions, and then we look at them. So most of these featured competitions are sponsored by companies. Maybe they want to improve something or things like that. So this is the competitions interface. And then the details of the competition, depending on the nature of the competition. Sometimes when you check a competition, there are two ways to submit. Some of them require you to submit a CSV. So you just submit a CSV containing a format. They will tell you they need two columns, mostly the ID and then maybe the result. And then you submit that. They also check the number of rows. It has to match with the test set they give. Or there are other competitions where you submit your notebook. So on your notebook, you just go to code, you add your notebook on the code. So after you're done, new notebook here, like this type of competition, new notebook. So once you're done, you click on the submit button. So it's going to run the notebook, submit your results, and then your notebook is also part of the result. So that those are the two types, how to submit your work on Kaggle. And then the next one is, okay, how to choose a competition. So to choose a competition, you have to consider your skill level. So you know yourself best, you know whether maybe you're just beginning or you're intermediate or you're advanced, you have years of skills and experience in data science and machine learning. So if you consider your skill level, then you check. So it's very important to read the competition description to know what is expected. Because one thing with training models and things like that, you have to even know the tax. So if something is a regression tax and you did classification, then it's gone. If not, you didn't understand what was needed. So after that, you also review the evaluation metric. So maybe it's a binary classification, and then you went and used accuracy instead of using rock AUC. So the evaluation metric was rock AUC and use accuracy. So that can make you like you're totally diverging from what was intended in the competition. So it's very important to read and understand what the competition was, what is the requirement, and then also understand the evaluation metric. It's highly important. There's a difference between a mean square error and root mean square error or mean absolute error. All are used for regression, but the one that is the one that is the evaluation metric for the particular competition, that's the one you should optimize for. So your model can be good, but it's not particularly trained on the evaluation metric. So maybe people will have better evaluation, better results than you because they focus on the right evaluation metrics. So the competition, they normally have rules. So you look at the data description, understand the data, and then the submission format too. So if you understand the submission format, you're going to arrange the submission CSV in the right format, and you submit. And then the deadline and phases for competitions that have that. So competitions normally have deadlines. After the deadlines, they release the private leaderboard. So in the beginning, it's highly important to understand the data. So you have to explore and pre-process the data. So when you load it, check for missing values, normalize and scale features. That's the continuous features to check them and make sure you can use them for your model. And then the feature engineering too is important. So you can create new features from the existing data and then use domain knowledge. For instance, if it's something related to banking, you have to say, okay, will this affect a banking? Will this affect a customer in a bank or not? If I create this feature, is it relevant? You have to create relevant features. For instance, extracting month from a date. So you want to know whether some months are more important or extracting days of weeks and things like that. It has to be relevant. If it's something that's not really important, it's not going to change anything. And then there's model selection. So you have to select the appropriate model depending on what is needed. If it's a regression task, you can use linear regression or things like that. If it's a classification, you can start with logistic regression and go up. You can use a linear regression for classification. It's for regression. So, and then you consider the model complexity and interpretability depending on the use case. So there are domains where the interpretability is highly important. For instance, the health domain. They don't the people would like to understand how the model came to the conclusion. And then you use pre-trained models. That's if you're working with deep learning, then you can use pre-trained models if applicable. And then the training and validating models. So you can split the data into training and validation sets. You train the model on the training data and validate the model on the validation data. So they will give you a test set for the competition. That's what you're going to predict on and send. Normally, the test sets don't have labels. So you send and then it's going to be the competition will run it in the back end to give you your score. So for you to know the performance of your model, you need to use the validation set. So you have to split the data into training and validation sets. And then you can also use cross-validation techniques for that, just to ensure that you do. And then the hyperparameter tuning is important. So once you have your initial model, you can either use grid search, random search, or Bayesian optimization. So in grid search, it's mostly like you give a list of the hyperparameters you want to tune, and then it's going to get you the combination of the models trained using the combination of all the listed hyperparameters and get you the best model from the list. For random search, is more, let's say, is less computationally intensive because it's not going to look at all the possible combinations. So it's going to streamline it more and save you computation costs, especially maybe if you're GPUs. And that's why it's good to, and then here, model evaluation metrics. They are highly important to understand. So when you say accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, those are for classification tasks. And then when the ROCAUC2, then for mean absolute error and root mean square error, those are for regression tasks. And then for each competition, they will give you the evaluation metrics of choice. And then here, ensembling techniques too, they're also good for competitions. There's a reason all these techniques are put. So when you're training a model on your own, you just want to get something running and do. When it's a competition, you're trying to always improve. So after, even if you get a good model, when people are getting better scores, you also have to work on techniques that will give you better scores, that will improve your models. So you can use bagging techniques, you can use boosting, stacking, and blending. And these are techniques where you can combine individual models to get a better score. So in these ensembling techniques, and it's also good. I don't know whether people are familiar with SG Boost. So SG Boost is highly good for things, especially when it's just basic machine learning, when it's not deep learning. So when you want to do a prediction, a classification, or regression, you can use SG Boost. And when I participated in the Coursera Data Science Coding Challenge, the best model I had was using SG Boost. Even though I used densely connected neural networks, but I wasn't able to get the high accuracy compared to what I got using the XGBoost. So then the submission process. So you generate predictions using the test data that was given in the competition, and then you create a submission file, and then you submit through the Kaggle interface. There's a place you click submission, and then you submit, you upload the CSV file. And then there's also discussion forums. This is where you can ask questions. Maybe you're participating in a general competition, you ask questions, you share your insights, and you collaborate with participants. So even right within the competition, you can have discussion with other participants in the competition or other participants in the entire Kaggle forum. So you can have that. And then finally, on when it comes to competitions, Kaggle have grandmasters, just like chess. So these people are highly skilled. They have years of experience. They've won a lot of Kaggle challenges. They know the in and out of creating models because basically that's what competitions are for. The other aspects of data science cannot really be learned much here on Kaggle. So you learn from them, the grandmasters. They write write-ups on the winning solutions and then discussions too. So if a grandmaster advises you on something, you know he's talking from the years of experience that he has. And then the other things is overfitting. Avoid overfitting the model, and that's why it's good to use a validation set. And then misinterpreting, ignoring data leakage, and also misinterpreting evaluation metrics. So misinterpreting, for instance, maybe they want rock AUC, you have to make sure you use that and don't go and use F1 score because you think it's better or something. And then you have to understand when the metric, if you understand the evaluation metric, you have to know whether a lower score is better or a higher score is better. So if a higher score is better and you're working towards getting a lower score, then you're not understanding the evaluation metric. So it's highly important to understand the evaluation metric because in Kaggle competitions, you have two leaderboards. There's the public leaderboard, the score you see when you submit, and then there's the private leaderboard. The private leaderboard is the final score that will be collated. So mostly they will use maybe 20 or 30% of the test set to give you your initial score. The final score will be based on the entire test set, and that will be the private leaderboard. And there's what we call the shake up. So the shake up means your score on the your position on the public leaderboard is different from your position on the private leaderboard. So maybe you move some positions when it was changed. So part of the reasons is maybe you overfitted the model, or you were not able to optimize well with the evaluation metric. So that's why it's good to understand the evaluation metric. And it's also important to track. So if you're participating in a Kaggle competition, track your models. Okay, this was what I did, hyperparameters I used, and this was the submission file, so that you know the actual submission that gave you the best score. And you can track maybe using 1DB or MLflow or things like that, any of those forums. And then resources for learning, you can go to Kaggle Learn, which is right there on Kaggle. They have different things for you to learn, from basic to some of the more advanced things, different topics. And then you can also learn online on courses, Coursera, Udemy, DataCamp, and then books and blogs, YouTube tutorials. So just to gain how to improve, because it's quite easy to train one model, but to improve and get better scores, that's something that will require a lot of work. So, and then for practicing competition, you can start with past competitions. That's competitions that, and then there's ongoing competitions, and then there's the competitions that are always ongoing, maybe like the Titanic competition and things like that. You can just join and then submit and see, and then you can participate regularly to improve skills, because the more you practice, the better we get. Part of the reason, if you don't practice, you get rusty. So it's good to do that. And then this is where I end, but I'll just give a brief overview of the competition. So here is, so for the first competition is about customers, bank customers churning or not. So this is the overview. And then for this competition, the metric is the ROCAUC curve. So ROCAUC score, rock AUC score, that's what will be evaluated, and it's a binary prediction. So it's either up, whether they predict or not. And then the score will be the ROCAUC curve. That will be the evaluation metric. And then there's the data available, there's the training set, test set, and then there's the sample submission. The sample submission shows the format. So each of them will be ID and exited. So when you make your prediction, the column will be exited, and then this ID column will come from the test set. That's how to make the submission. And once you're done in the competition, you submit the file that you used to predict. So the best advice is just to, since the code is hosted on Kaggle, you can decide to download and do it locally, or you can do it also on Kaggle. But it's easier to track. Maybe you have different versions, different notebooks on Kaggle. So it's even easy to track your submissions and things like that. So this is what I have. So any questions?
All right. Thank you very much, Lukman. So, right. Thank you very much, Lukman. So, I know some of us are still doing the data camp certificate, those that haven't finished, which is also fine. So we don't want to put much pressure on them. And so what I want to all of us to do is to, I will share something now, so that, eh, all right. Okay, Lukman, can you give me the, I think I cannot share screen. Look. All right. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, so before we go and start doing the competition and whatsoever, this week, what we will expect everyone to do is to make sure he follow this guide called Getting Started with Kaggle. So here it will take you step by step. This is step one. You can see approximately it will take you 2 minutes to set up your Kaggle profile. For example, to set your picture, your name. For example, you can see Kaggle, the me means will be your name and whatsoever. So here it explains a lot of stuff that Lukman made mention. It will show you, for example, progression from novice, contributor, expert, and whatsoever. Here is step 3, submit to Titanic dataset. So this is one of the, everyone that started doing machine learning, this is one of the kind of first machine learning they train. Yeah. So here you will be able to go through this machine learning competition called Titanic dataset. So if you look at this one, before we start the normal challenge, we want to make sure that everyone's set up and everyone is able to do this. So if you click this notebook here, so you can see it, Titanic tutorial. So what is Titanic tutorial? So this tutorial is, if you know Titanic, where a ship capsized and people died in, this wreckage of a ship. So they want to predict something. You can see Titanic machine learning disaster. The challenge is we want you to use Titanic passenger data. For example, the name of the passenger, the age, the price of the ticket he bought, ECT. There are many variables in the data set to try to predict who will survive and who will die. So this is the discussion. This is about the data. Who will die? They will give you the data. So if you look at this one, this is the data, I think. Yeah, this is the data. If you look at this data tab, so you see here, for example, click in here, data tab. You see the data. So here they explain the data. So you can see about the Titanic machine learning from disaster. This is the overview of the description. So for each competition, you will have overview, explanation about the challenge, the data. Here you can see the data and the variables in the data, variable names, and you can download the data here. You can see the code, for example, some code for other people that try. So this is what other people try to do the machine learning. So you can see, you can click this guy and you'll be able to see the code he does or she does. So when I click here, because you can see this is even pin. Why? Because, they are gold. I mean, it means they, have a very good score. You can see, for example, this one, you can even see, I think the score here, for example, you can see 0.8014, 0.7, 0.760. So you can see this one, I think is one of the, so if you click on this one, the good thing about, the good thing about, Kaggle is that you can be able to see other people code. So if you click at this guy, you'll be able to see his code. For example, this guy, you can see that. So this guy, he worked with TensorFlow and others. So you can see this is the data set, name, the passenger class, the survived. 0 means he died, has not survived. 1 means survive. So what they want is, given all this data, this is what they want to predict. They want you to predict this guy survived or not, survive 1 or not survive. So this is how the data is. You can see it. So as I said, you can see many other people, their code, and you can open their code to learn. So this is a playing ground. For example, I can go to this guy and see his code. So you can see this guy code. You can see his code. He uses, I think, Python and scikit-learn. So this one is just machine learning, like scikit-learn. You can see what coder and other stuff. So you can follow and learn from many other people. So let me quickly go back to what I was. All right. So so try as much as possible to step 1 to register for yourself in Kaggle. Number 2, understand what how the different progression work, and try as much as possible to submit your Kaggle, first Kaggle. Make sure this will ensure that you know how to move into Kaggle, you know how to submit, whatsoever. We don't want to start the competition while some people don't even know how to make submission to the Kaggle. They don't know how to, you know, all those stuff. Then make a comment. So this is something also, make comment, give an upvote to the system. So this is a complete guide on how to get started. Then you can see what next. The next thing is to enter competition, Kaggle competitions. So this is basically is how can you get started? How can you learn to navigate Kaggle? And then our next subsequent session next week, we can talk more about the competition. Now, Lukman today will talk to you about what is Kaggle, different stuff at Kaggle. But what we want you to do is try before the next week to make sure you complete this Kaggle getting started, and also submit your first Kaggle, you know, sample competition. That will make sure that you learn how to work with Kaggle. Any question? Any question? All right. So ina ina ji babu tambaya ko? Okay. So idan babu, if there is no question, I think we can stop here, and we expect to see you. Oh, next week is going to be Salah, yeah?
Yes,
Oh.
next week is Salah, Saturday.
Okay. So next week we will not meet. So maybe upper week, I think. Yeah. So we will meet. Oh, okay. So we'll follow up with the email about our closing, which will be on 22nd or something like that. We'll follow up with the email about a meeting in Kano. Yeah, and I also want to reiterate for those fellows that you know, want to claim their 30,000. You are free to come to Kano. If you will not be able to come to Kano, we'll be able to send you your money. For those that have not yet completed their data scientist certificate, you still have more time to complete. Yeah, so I think from today we will not be able to see, maybe until we see in Kano. If you are able to attend our graduation, we will follow up with more detail about the graduation. Don't bother about that. Yeah. Question. Thank you very much for walk through about the explanation. Any question? Any question? All right. So I think everyone is good with what we discussed today. This video for today will be uploaded in our Kaggle GitHub repository, so that everyone that missed the session will be able to do it. Also, the Kaggle Get Started will be uploaded in our Kaggle ArewaDS Kaggle competition website, so that you'll be able to have access to that. And thank you very much for everyone that joined, and we see you inshallah in the next meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank you.